Well, that's a wrap. Risky Women Radio Series 1 is complete. After launching in April of this year, 2018, we have recorded 18 episodes with 19 different women from the Risky Women Network across the globe, including 2 live events. We also did 2 partner events, one with #Impact and one with Divercity podcast, or Diversity with a C, and Julia Streets. We had a Risky Women Regulator series with 4 regulators in our midst and 2 ex-regulators. And it has been a wonderful experience to talk about and discuss and debate some fascinating themes in the risk regulation and compliance space, everything from fighting global financial crime to managing conduct risk. And we continue to grow this global network to connect, to champion and celebrate our women in risk regulation and compliance. So firstly, thank you to all of our listeners for joining us and subscribing to the channel. Thank you also to the fabulous Risky Women who have spoken on the Series 1 podcast. So let's just have a bit of a journey through the Series 1 contributors. We started with leading women in government affairs with Catherine Simmons from Citi and Rebecca Turner-Lenchner from BNY Mellon. Still one of the top listened to podcasts in the series. Fantastic to hear 2 different career journeys in the government relations space. Sam Mostyn talked to us about taking a few risks. Sam is an amazing independent company director from Australia with a broad portfolio and a fabulous connector, also with a very keen interest in sustainability and, of course, Australian rules football. Kathy Armour was another Australian to join us. I was lucky enough to join Kathy in ASIC's offices. Kathy is a commissioner at ASIC, and she spoke about a wide range of topics from financial inclusion, technology, why diversity was important, and looking at reg tech and innovation in the regulatory and regulator space. Angelina Kwan, one of our founding members of the Risky Women Network here in Hong Kong, spoke about the future of compliance during her time at the Hong Kong Exchange when she headed up the regulatory compliance listing and regulatory affairs division for the Hong Kong Exchange. In Singapore, we recorded one of our live Risky Women lunches that was held during the Regulatory Summit in Singapore, and Loretta Yuan and Gladys Chun, who were both inaugural winners of the Singapore Chief Legal Officer Awards, spoke to us about different perspectives of compliance from Loretta's perspective at OCBC, and then from Gladys, who is the General Counsel at Lazada Group. So another interesting look at what disruption means, both in the financial industries and beyond for compliance. Barbara Leach Walters' episode on accountability, compliance and ethics is another one of the top listened to episodes, and I think ethics in this space and the guiding principle around trust and what that means for the industry continues to be a theme that runs through many of the episodes that we recorded. We then moved to our London Risky Women, and Diane Mullinex joined, also an incredibly well listened to episode. Diane's a partner at Pinson Mason, and her experience in telecom, gaming and technology in some very interesting jurisdictions from Asia, Europe, Africa and the Middle East. She talked around digital transformation, around gaming, smart cities, as well as some cybersecurity issues. Vivian Arts, the Chief Privacy Officer at Refinitiv, as well as being the president of the Women in Banking and Finance in the UK, spoke about her passion for privacy, and her career journey also is a fascinating one. And then Christine May from Citi joined us with a deep dive around governance at Citi, another very interesting area that is part of the overall agenda for risky women. Claire Williams added managing reputation and what were the new risks and the new thinking required, and how communication needed to be handled to manage a lot of the crisis management, and what this meant for companies when the landscape of communication, the threats were increasing exponentially, especially in relation to social media in comparison to the traditional media that was existing in the past. And then we moved on around how to be a fabulously strategic and effective risky woman with Kirsty Grant Hart. So Kirsty has a fabulous book that she has written on how to be a wildly effective compliance officer. And I was lucky enough to join her for a coffee at the Institute of Directors in London. It's a great episode that I really suggest that you have a listen to if you haven't already.
We have the opportunity to change the way that the world of business works, to make the world more fair and genuinely a better place. This is a miraculous opportunity. And when you're doing your little job in your desk and you don't feel like you're making any difference, or you're just checking boxes, it just feels like it doesn't matter. But when you look at the aggregate of what we're doing, particularly when you're looking at the role that bribery and slavery play in the world, even privacy, I mean, you're talking about things that are fundamentally critical to human life. You're part of a movement that's changing the world. That is an unbelievable, incredible place.
So then I was lucky enough to go to Australia and recorded some episodes there, which made up our regulator series. So 3 of the senior leaders at ASIC joined, Sharon Concisium, Louise Macaulay, and Emily Hodgson. Fantastic to hear about multiple areas of ASIC's operation there, and rounded out and added to episode 3 with Kathy Armour. Amina Antonou, who is always entertaining, talked about her role at the largest entertainment company, Tabcorp in Australia, and with a big focus on fairness. So once again, bringing in trust, ethics, but also Amina added in diversity and what that meant to the whole agenda as well. And then we wrapped up in our final episode with 2 ex-regulators and 2 of the original members of the Risky Women Network, with Meena Dadwani and Benedict Nolan. So Meena, her previous role at the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and then Benny, whose previous role was with the SFC here in Hong Kong, and has now gone on to a fascinating role at Circle, a crypto organization. So very interesting wrap up to the year. So finally, thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to all of our speakers, and also a huge thank you to the production team, Lauren Riley and Chez Savanti in London, and the incredible Heather Bark for her not only brilliant marketing skills, but also advice, guidance, and production management over this whole series. So in wrapping up Series 1, if you think you are a risky woman, if you know a risky woman or would like to be a risky woman, please contact me about getting involved in Series 2 of the Risky Woman Radio podcast. Thank you for joining. That's a wrap.